going to take me back to what I was getting to. The fight back. This is what we need to start doing. The first source of somebody fighting back was not somebody that I would have thought of first, but it makes complete sense. Do you remember Vladimir Klitschko? He was a world champion boxer for years, heavyweight champion for years and years and years. Well, he directly challenged Joe Rogan. Have me on your show and we can have a discussion about it. Let's take a look to hear what he had to say and we'll go from there.
Joe Rogan, I listened to your latest podcast. I'm sending you this video to let you know that I disagree. You talk about these American weapons being sent to Ukraine, which you believe will lead to the Third World War. So, let me tell you that you're repeating Russian propaganda. Putin's Russia is in trouble, so they want to scare you and people like you. His war was supposed to last 3 days. It has lasted 3 years, thanks to the heroism and sacrifice of us Ukrainians. So you're using the only weapon that Putin really intends to use, propaganda. And this weapon really weakens our democracies. Putin's Russia wants to destroy Ukraine quietly. They want America to stay quiet, not great, but quiet. A great America is not an America that abandons countries that defend freedom with their lives. In short, you see, I have quite a few points of difference. If you invite me on your podcast, we could discuss them like free men.
First of all, no chance Joe Rogan allows that to happen. Not unless he has people around him that know more about the situation. He's not going one-on-one with Klitschko there because few reasons. One, he knows Klitschko knows way more about the situation, and he is personally tied to it. Joe Rogan has no personal ties to this, none. The only ties he has to it, and this is the second reason why he will never have him on there, is because he's now beholden to guys like Elon Musk. And this, who's that idiot who runs the UFC? Dana White. Now, I'm not saying Dana White owns Joe Rogan, but now they're all in this little club, this we love Donald Trump and we got him elected club. So going against the king and the leader at any point in this next 4 years, not happening. Not happening. In fact, for the next 4 years, all we're going to hear from Joe Rogan now is propaganda from the right, whether it be from Russia or from this country. That's what you're going to hear from Joe Rogan. And this is why it's scary, because more people listen to Joe Rogan than any other podcast. And because of that, I've said this a million times, that is the reason, not just Joe Rogan, but that's the reason why Donald Trump won this election. For that reason and that reason only, because of the right, well, let me list the reasons. The right-wing propaganda media, Fox News, Newsmax, these unregulated, unqualified podcasters, then even the qualified podcasters, the ones who actually know about what's happening, but they know how to shape the language to circumnavigate anything that is negative towards Trump. They're going to spin it into a positive. Just like the indictments. There are people who will listen to Joe Rogan, who will listen to all those podcasts, that will have absolutely no idea what any of those indictments were about. The only thing that they know about those indictments is that it was a big setup. That Joe Biden and the Democrats and liberal judges and liberal prosecutors set Donald Trump up and went after their political opponent. Now, if you read the actual indictments, at least one of them, you would go, oh, shit. I mean, that sounds pretty bad. I still, even though it doesn't matter at this point, I would still encourage anybody to at least read the classified documents indictment. That to me is that's a slam dunk. That's a no-brainer. I mean, really, the other two are too. But those are gone. And by the way, I'm not even whine and bitch about that anymore, because what's the point? We knew it was coming. As soon as Donald Trump won, who sat around and went, Well, we still have those indictments. If you did, then maybe you don't know what's going on, because there was no chance, absolutely no chance. But let's get back to the point. The point is, it is time to start challenging these people where they are. And Klitschko may not do what I'm going to say, but you need to be just as relentless as they are. Every single day, if you're talking this nonsense, then every day put out a video, go on shows all across the country and challenge Joe Rogan. Say, if you don't want to do it on your show, let's do it on somebody else's show. Just continue to challenge these people on their disinformation and lies every day. Hammer it. No more laying back and letting them control the narrative and who you are. I mean, people literally voted because they said Kamala Harris cares more about transgender people. That's just insane. Kamala Harris allows ninth-month abortions. Well, when you use that sort of language, it's scary. But we didn't explain to people exactly why we support that. Why do we support it? First of all, it never happens. It's extremely rare. And if it does happen, it's only because it's at the woman having the child, her life is at stake. I mean, I said this last week. And again, I might start saying the same shit over and over and over again every single week. That's what you got to do. You got to keep hammering. No more. I said this last week. Great. You know a lot about Yemen. Nobody gives a shit about your thoughts on Yemen. Sure, you could talk about it in some respects, but what you need to start doing is you need to start coming up with the same talking points, and you need to start coming up with the same language and use it over and over and over again. The difference between ours and theirs is ours is going to be true. Theirs isn't. And I can point out every single time they say something that is not true. I can point it out. I know they don't care, but they will never be able to point out when we say something and we say it over and over and over again. They will never be able to point out how we're lying about it. I know, CNN, MSNBC. Don't watch either. I don't watch cable news. Don't care about cable news. First of all, they're not even CNN's not even really a left-wing network. That's ridiculous for anybody to say that. It's just stupid. It is stupid to call CNN an arm of the left wing. That's just dumb. MSNBC, maybe 60% of it, but not overall. Not like Fox News and Newsmax. They're 100, maybe 95% in for Donald Trump. Everything they say is pro-Trump, anti-left. Everything. 95% of it. That's what we need to start doing. I said this last week. Time for us to start doing it. It sucks that you have to do it because there's too many intellectuals and too many people who have way too many ideas on how things need to be done and why we lost. Calling Joe Biden and saying that we got away from the working class is one of the most insanely ridiculous things I've ever heard. I heard this from Democrats. Democrats are saying this ridiculousness. Joe Biden created more jobs than any president in the history of this country. Can't do that. Can't do it. You got to start coming up with the same language and using powerful language, radical right. But you can't just half-ass it. Because I know they've tried before and they tried to be hard and they tried to be, badasses, but it didn't really work because you're not all on the same page. They're all on the same page. They can all hate each other. There's a lot of those podcasters don't even like each other. Some of them probably don't even like Donald Trump, but they know the mission. They understand the mission, and that's how they're going to get to where they want to get to because they understand the mission. We understand the mission, but we go about it the wrong way, especially in this day and age. Joe Rogan, he's telling us what we need to think politically. Not good. That's not good. That's not good at all. And We don't have a Joe Rogan, which is okay. We don't need a Joe Rogan. But you know what we need to start doing? Challenge Joe Rogan every day when he opens his stupid mouth. Challenge the Candace Owens, Dan Bonjay, any of these podcasters. When they say something, literally challenge them every day. Here's a challenge. This I did like to see. This is Pete Buttigieg, who seems to be getting the idea. And let me go to this. Sorry, guys. So Donald Trump Jr. is on social media, and he's running his mouth about tax credits for electric vehicles. And obviously, Donald Trump Sr. has no idea what he's talking about. And if you didn't think he didn't know what he was talking about, then look at his stupid son, because he really has no idea what he's talking about. He's a complete moron. He might as well be like that guy in the Joe Rogan clip with the sunglasses who said, I don't know anything about politics. But here's his tweet running his mouth. Let me get this up here, guys. Sorry. All right. So this is some guy named Michael Ruley says Pete Buttigieg will leave his post as transportation secretary, having spent $7.5 billion to build 8 EV charging stations. Sorry, that's what it's about, the charging stations. Donald Trump Jr. replies, does not seem like a great return on investment, but hey, he checked a woke box, so it's totally worth it. Of course, Pete Buttigieg is gay. So again, the language, woke. And man, we even, what's the term? We cucked some of our people even to using this word woke, like Bill Maher, who couldn't fucking stop using the word woke, which is the reason why I haven't watched him in over 2 years. And don't give me that bullshit about you don't like different opinions or somebody says something you don't like. No, it's the fact that he was doing it every week. And at some point I got bored with it. I'm just like, it's like watching a series, a show. If the first season was really good, you go to the second season. But if the second season's awful and you're 6 episodes in, a lot of you pull out and go, all right, I'm done. I'm not watching anymore. That's basically what happened with me with Bill Maher. Got to the season where it just started jumping the shark, I think is what they call it. He jumped the shark. And I got to the point in the season where I was like, yeah, Bill Maher's jumped the shark. How many more fucking times can I hear this guy say the word woke? And he said it under some of the dumbest pretenses I've ever heard. And it was getting on my nerves, so I'm done with Bill Maher. But anyway, let's go to the second part of this, where Pete Buttigieg actually chimes in and says the tweet you quoted is false. Elon Musk now, another one. Elon Musk, I know people say, guy's a genius. I am so happy he's part of this administration because he's the richest guy in the world. And if the richest guy in the world is part of this administration, that's got to be good for us, right? I'm here to tell you, the richest man in the world being part of a political government is the worst possible thing that you could possibly ask for. How could you want the richest person in the world in any government post, even though this isn't a real government post? This is kind of like, you give your kid the old cell phone so he can play around on it and act like he's talking to somebody. That's kind of like what this is. Donald Trump's going to appease him every once in a while, but Elon Musk says, well, please post the rebuttal, then community notes will take care of the rest. Again, this is our politics. It's Joe Rogan. It's Twitter with Elon Musk not only running parts of government, but he's running one of the biggest social media platforms, if not the biggest social media platform, especially where people get news from. He is controlling this platform and saying that community notes will take care of the rest. I will say, in fairness, community notes has straightened out old Elon Musk at times. So, in some respects, it does work. But overall, Elon Musk running Twitter is terrible for this country. Terrible. I don't care who you voted for. That is not good when Elon Musk is running Twitter, and now he's part of the government. But this is Pete Buttigieg responding to Elon Musk. instead of just, you got this wrong, now he's going to go over the facts. To start with, 7.5 billion has not been spent, nor anything like that. That's the entire program budget for the NEVI program, which is to help build out a national charging network by 2030. Secondly, there are chargers now operational in 9 states, which does not mean 9 chargers, as that dipshit Donald Trump Jr. tried to say, or was it the other dipshit? Those are only the first handful, though. Most are to be built in the second half of the decade. Third, in this program, the chargers are built by the states, not the federal government. And while it takes time to get the novel multi-billion-dollar program going across 50 states, the states are on track. Finally, he says, for anyone interested in this program and where the chargers are going, here's further data on the map. So he actually provides data. He provides facts to the two dipshits who are trying to spew to millions of people things that are just not true. So Elon Musk finally responds to, this is helpful to understand. At least he said that. But see, this is what happens. These guys back down. When you are in their face, you get in their face and you say, this is the truth, not the dumb shit that you're trying to tell millions of people. This is the truth. And if you want to take me on this, I am ready to go. Let's go on your little platform. Let's go on your, what do you call those things on Twitter? Spaces. Let's go on Spaces. Me and you sit down and talk about this. And you tell me how I'm wrong. Bring Don Jr. with you. You probably don't want to do that because he'll just ruin it. But because you have no chance against me, the two of you together probably will make it worse. Go after them every day, relentlessly. Don't let up. You don't. You find every single word that comes from these people and you challenge them. You challenge them every single day. That's your only chance, because if you allow for 4 more years them to continue to spread, real quick, I'm going to look, how many followers does Elon Musk have? Some of you might know, but Elon Musk currently has 206.2 million followers. Now, probably millions of those are bots, but let's just say it's half of that. Let's just say it's 100 million. He has spread more propaganda because this guy tweets he's like a 13-year-old girl, just tweeting all day, every day, all night, and most of it's propaganda. But look what happens when somebody smarter than them goes after you. What do? They back off. And they go, whoa, sorry about that. Community Notes will take care of it. Nope, not good enough. I'm going to give you all the fucking facts. You want to keep talking about it? Let's keep talking about it. That's good information. Thanks, Pete. You want to continue to talk about it? Let's go on Spaces. Joe, you want to keep talking about Vladimir Putin? I know a little bit about this. Let me be on your show and let's talk about it one-on-one. Let's see if Joe Rogan continues to talk about this. I say he doesn't. Either that, maybe he does let Klitschko on the show. And hopefully he does. And then when he does, it straightens this idiot out. Because that's what it's going to take. Straightening all these idiots out. These people are not smart enough to defend their position when either they are not smart enough to understand the actual facts about what they're talking about, or they're lying about it. Either way, they're fucked when Pete Buttigieg comes in, when Klitschko comes in, or anybody else that wants to debate nonsense. You want to continue to spew nonsense and lies and disinformation? Guess what? We're coming right to you. That's what's going to happen from now on. I hope that's what happens. I hope that I'm not watching any more podcasters on the left talking about how Joe Biden should have ended what's going on in Israel and Palestine earlier. Don't care. That's not to say I don't care about what happened over there or what's going to happen or what's happened over there before. I do care about it. I care about all human beings when they are innocently being tortured, killed, bad things are happening in their lives. I care about the people who vote for Donald Trump. I am going to be heartbroken if any of you voted for Donald Trump and they rip away the Affordable Care Act and now your pre-existing conditions are no longer covered. When you have family members that are going to get ripped right out of their homes and sent back to a place where rape and murder is happening. Rape and murder is happening. I will. I mean, I will feel sorry for those people. Like I said, if you voted for Donald Trump, kind of get what you deserve. But again, back to what I was saying. It is time to relentlessly go after these people. It is time to start putting together an ecosystem that battles every word that they say that is disinformation. You allowed it to go on for way too long. And because of that, you had people voting for the dumbest reasons you could possibly think of. People think the economy is terrible. Best economy in the world. Now, I'm not saying that things still didn't cost more. 100% is costing more for all of us. But that wasn't because of Joe Biden's policies. I'm not going to get into the facts about that because it doesn't matter anymore. That's too late. Too late. Could have done that a long time ago. We didn't. Too late. But from this point on, who cares about the indictments? They're gone. Jack Smith had to... Doesn't matter. Talking about we need to recount on the vote. No, that's done. Move forward. It is time to look forward now. It is time to look forward and look straight into the faces of these people who insist on disinformation and go after them. Go after them. Go after them relentlessly. Do not let up. Unfortunately, probably not going to happen. I have heard some of these guys say, we've been talking to each other. Who knows what the plan is? I don't know. But it's so irritating to see some of the smartest people still feeling that they have to be right about things. I like Mehdi Hassan. Smart guy. But man, does he feel like he's got to be right about everything? Joe Biden, I told you that. Who cares? I don't care anymore about what you have to say about Joe Biden. Unless it's good. That's what I care about. I'll listen to you say something good about Joe Biden. I'm not going to listen to you say anything negative about him. Not at this point. I'm not saying that there was never anything negative to say about Joe Biden. There's something negative to say about every single president that's ever existed. But unfortunately, with some people in this new administration, guess what? You're not even allowed to say anything negative about him. There are threats that if you are any kind of major podcaster, nobody's ever going to hear me. I ain't worried about it. But major podcasters, they're afraid that maybe there is retribution or maybe there is threats against them. Not from psychopaths that listen, from the government, from people in the government. And who knows how they will handle this. There are some people who are already backing out. Joe and Mika. Oh, let's go. Maybe we should go down and talk to this guy because we're afraid of some sort of retribution or we're afraid of something that might happen to us. I don't know if that's true. I have heard people say, I think it was George Conway, that said he had spoken to people and that, in fact, is one of the reasons why they went down there because they were afraid of retribution. And that's where we're at in this country now. These are the same people who said that we were saying you're not allowed to say things. You were always allowed to say things. In fact, that's the reason why you won the election. Because you've been saying things that haven't been true for years. And nobody stopped you. Nobody stopped you. That's why I got so mad about woke culture. What are you talking about? The only thing you were talking about there is you just wanted to be a complete fucking asshole. And when people called you out on wanting to be a complete fucking asshole, you called it woke. You're too woke. I'm not allowed to make fun of transgender people. Sure, you could. Dave Chappelle did it. He did it on two different major Netflix specials. And guess what? If Dave Chappelle, even before Trump was elected, if he decided he wanted to do a gig at Madison Square Garden, sold out. Nobody's stopping him. But, there was a small college that there were 8 people on there and said, don't have Dave Chappelle here and speak because I don't like what he said about transgender people. That's the woke mob you're talking about. Because again, where's the proof? Where's the proof that people have been canceled based on what they said? And if they had been canceled, I want to know what they said. Because more than likely, it had something to do with them saying something that probably would have gotten them canceled or fired from any job. Oh, they locked women in their dressing room and sexually assaulted them. Oh, you can't do that anymore. I didn't know you could ever do that. Is that, because some men are being called out on some of their sexual proclivities that assaulted women? Is that canceling people? I don't know. I don't think it is. So that's what I said. They shaped this narrative that we were too woke, but you can't come up with an example. You can't come up with real examples where it was an epidemic. Anecdotes we could come up with all day long. I could come up with any subject and come up with an anecdote. Laken Riley is the reason why everybody's saying we've got to stop these immigrants from coming in because they're killing young ladies like Laken Riley. Who else? Who else? Can't name that many more. And I'm not saying what happened with Laken Riley or anybody that comes in this country and does something illegal, a crime, doesn't need to be stopped. But this isn't the reason why we need to gather up all the immigrants and get rid of them. That's ridiculous because you can't come up statistically with people who are coming into this country and raping and murdering people on a level to where most reasonable people would agree that we've got to get rid of them. Do you know how many people in red states are going to be really pissed off that these immigrants are being taken out of this country? A lot, because they have a lot of them working for them. You know how many landscape companies, construction companies, all these different companies in red states, they're going to be affected by this. They might think it's funny and cool to say it with their other buddies, but when it actually happens, they're like, oh shit. Well, I got to start hiring new people. Oh wait, they're not going to work for $3.50 an hour? I got to actually pay them a real wage? Fight back. Fight, 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 and don't let up. Relentless. I don't know how else to put it, but I really hope they get their act together and do this because it has to be done. I'll say this every week that I'm on. Has to be done. And I'm not claiming anybody's listening to me and saying, hey, did you hear the guy on Black and White with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest? It's sweeping the country. No, I'm just hoping this is, if I were able to talk and if they were to have a big meeting and say, Brian, you're in charge of it, this is what I'd tell them, and hopefully it would resonate. If they told me something that they think would work better, I certainly would listen. But for me, I think the fact that we allowed this to happen for 4 straight years is the reason why Donald Trump is president. That's the only reason. Well, I was listing 3 reasons earlier. The propaganda media, the unqualified and unregulated podcasters, and the mainstream media did not help us at all because they normalized Donald Trump. They allowed us to talk about him in a serious manner when there's nothing serious about this guy other than the danger. That's the only seriousness you should have been talking about with Donald Trump, is the danger. Other than that, you should have treated him like a clown, the clown that he is. But you didn't do that because you had to be fair. We got to be fair. And in normal times, I agree. Everybody should be treated fairly in politics. Donald Trump's a different character. I know this to be true. And to treat him like he was the same as Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Barack Obama or any other political is nonsense. It's crazy to me. Crazy. And this is where we are now. And now we're going to have a black cloud hanging over this country for a while. And I really hope that things are not going to get as dark as I believe they're going to get. I hope they don't. And I would be happy for anybody to come here and go, hey, Snowflake, you were overdoing it a little bit, weren't you? And I'll go, yep, I sure was. Thank God. Thank God you were right. But I don't know that's happening. I mean, from day one, they're going to come in and start getting rid of these immigrants. Day one, according to them. So we'll see. If they don't do it on day one, give me a little bit of hope.